Hello everyone! You can probably tell from the title of this video that I'm going to be getting the Hartley Patio greenhouse. I am so excited. I have officially put down the deposit and it should be installed early next year, I think around February. But I wanted to go through everything, what it is, how it works, how I plan to use it, and hopefully this will be a really fun journey to follow along with. Now this is going to be my 40th birthday present, because next year I will be 40. However, my birthday's not until May, so whenever this comes, hopefully before May, that will still count. I used to ask for a hairless count for my 40th birthday, and I think that creeped my husband out too much, so he is very happy to go with a greenhouse as well. Now, if you did not know that Hartley has greenhouses for patios, neither did I until I went to the garden center show where I spoke at over the summer. I was with my husband. We walked up to the booth so that I could look at the pictures of their beautiful greenhouses in these beautiful yards or acres and acres of land. And I was settled with the thought that I will never have a greenhouse because I don't have a yard space for it. But as I was walking up to the booth, the word patio caught my eye on a brochure, and now my whole life has changed. That might be a little bit too dramatic, but now I know that they have greenhouses specifically made for patios, and I'm going to get one of them, and I'm very, very excited. Now, they do have two types of glass houses, what they call them. I might call them greenhouses or go back and forth, but they have two types that are made specifically for patios, and this is new. And I think it just shows that urban gardening and gardening in smaller spaces is getting more and more popular, because since I started gardening in 2019, the available products made for container or patio or balcony gardens has expanded greatly, and that's only been like 6 or 7 years. But anyway, the two greenhouses that they have for patios. First, they just have the patio glass house. This is not a structure you can walk into, but it is a set of shelves insulated and covered by the glass. You can lift up the top, you can open up the front to let some air in, you can store your seedlings in there, you can store plants in there, so you can still use it as a greenhouse, you just can't go inside of it. I wanted to go inside of mine, even though it's not that deep, but I'm still very excited. I went with the Grand Patio Glass House. So the Grand Patio Glass House, again, is the larger of the two. This one, it's about 4 feet deep, so you can walk into it. In fact, I have the measurements. It is, well, 2.3 meters by 2 meters by 1.2 meters, if you use meters. If not, it is 6 feet 8 3/8 inch wide. And then it is 3 feet 11.5 inch deep, so about 4 feet deep. And then the back, so it's sloped, the back is 7 feet 8 3/8 inches. And the front of it is 6 feet 11 5/8 inches. So very specific there, but that gives you a general idea of how large it is. It's going to be about 7 feet wide, about 4 feet deep, about 7.5 feet tall in the back, 6 feet in the front. So anything that I put in there will have to be able to be under that height. It's going to go here on the garage deck for a few reasons. One, the garage deck is a little bit larger than my rooftop decks for the gardens up there, so it won't take up as much space down here as it would up there. Also, this deck was just redone. Like I said, it used to be filled with rotting wood, but they just redid it, so I know that the structure is very sound and it can support the greenhouse. The rooftop decks, I don't know if they've ever been done since the house was built like 25 years ago. So I probably wouldn't trust putting any sort of permanent structure up there. Also, I think I'll use it the most down here. Like I said, I had the most space to work. I have space outside to start seedlings, put them in there. This is the most accessible to the kitchen, so maybe some herbs. I just think this space is going to be the best fit, which is also why I went with matte black for the frame, because everything that is in here almost is matte black. Now, based on my height of 5'4", like I said, I can go inside. I can sit in there. Probably if I had a folding chair and I wanted to put it in between the two stacks of shelves, I could sit there if I wanted to. It's a little bit chilly outside. I doubt I'll do that as much as just be working in there. Now, as far as logistics, there will be one day that's a delivery day and a second day that is the install day. This greenhouse does not have a base. A lot of the greenhouses, you have to install a brick base and then the glass goes on top of it. This is entirely a glass and metal structure. I believe it will be bolted into the brick wall in the area that it's going to go in order to secure it. But I'm glad that I don't have to do that first step of creating a base myself. They're going to do everything with the install. Yes, you do pay extra for that, but one thing I don't trust myself with is putting together a glass structure in the Windy City. So I definitely want to have somebody who's professional do that. Now, because this is not an inexpensive purchase, I did want to make sure I would utilize this and it would be worth the cost and the installation, and not just something that is just sitting there looking pretty. I don't think I will have any problem using it throughout the entire season. So here is how I plan to use it, or a few ways that I know I'm going to use it for now. First, to help overwinter any plants, especially my fruit trees. I think those are the most important ones to me. So looking at them now, I don't think I can fit all of them in there, but I would definitely wheel in my hardy fig and my peach tree because I think those are the least cold hardy, and then the apple trees will be shoved up against there. Now, again, this is not going to be installed until I think February at the earliest. So my fruit trees are going to have to survive outside on their own for a little bit, but I am glad to have this as kind of a backup safety measure for some of my perennials. However, I don't want to just store all perennials in the greenhouse because I want to be able to have things in my garden that can withstand the Chicago winters. So I am still going to be, well, overwintering a lot of stuff outside. I have apple trees on the rooftop, hydrangeas on the rooftop. Most of the hydrangeas here are going to stay out. So it's not like I'm only going to grow plants that can just survive if they're in greenhouses. I do want to have the majority of my plants able to live out here. Second, I'm definitely using it to start seedlings. I will start whatever seeds I'm going to grow down here. I will still start indoors with grow lights, anything that's going to go on the rooftop deck. But for anything down here, I might as well use the greenhouse. I have no idea yet as far as temperature. Will I need a heater? How will that work? That I will figure out once it's actually here. But if I can, assuming I can, I will definitely use it to start some seedlings. I will use it to grow herbs because this is where I create my husband's kitchen garden. And then I'll also use it to start bulbs. So the bulbs that I've planted so far in pots, they are going to go in the garage for storage. I don't know. This is again going to depend on how cold the greenhouse gets without any sort of heat. But assuming it's warm enough, I will move some of the pots out on the shelves. That way I can see them growing. I mean, it's a clear glass house, so I can see the tulips as they start to grow. I can see it out here, I can see it from the window, and if it is a little bit too cold to move them out there, I will just put them in the greenhouse once they start to sprout, which will again protect them from the rain and keep them a little bit warmer. But again, I don't want to only be able to grow tulips out here, so I am still trying some, again, on the rooftop deck to see if that works. I will be using it for storage. I will probably store pots and tools out here. Right now, everything I use is inside of the house, right in front of the door that comes out here. It's also where cat's litter boxes are. I don't think they like how much space I've taken over. So I will store some stuff in the greenhouse more over the winter. I don't want it to be just storage throughout the majority of the season. I want to have things growing in there as much as I can, but I will definitely be storing some items in there. And also, I'm just really excited to experiment. Like I said, I feel like urban small space gardening is really on the rise, and I want to see what it's like having a greenhouse specifically designed for patios. Is this something that's going to catch on? Is it something that is really valuable? Is it a lot more valuable than just having the plastic greenhouses that I've used in the past? Does the cost outweigh the value? So I'm just excited to play around, see what I can, see what I can't do with it, and just follow along with the whole journey of urban gardening. And then the final reason I knew I wanted to get it was because it won't blow away, which is the problem with the plastic greenhouses that I've used in the past. So the greenhouses that I have now on the rooftop deck have to be shorter than the brick wall, or else they get blown away. Even if I weigh them down, the poles rip in half and they still get blown away. So being able to have a structure that hopefully doesn't get blown away will be very nice to have. So we'll see all the ways in which I figure out how to use it, but I am excited to take you along on this journey. Now, before I show you around and where it's going to go, the last thing I wanted to talk about was why did I go with Hartley versus other options. So first, Hartley had the best size for my needs. A lot of my friends that have smaller greenhouses, they're still a lot larger than the one that I'm getting. So again, if this one is about, 7x4, some people have 8x8, that would just take up too much space and you wouldn't be able to move around. So the smaller sizes that Hartley has isn't necessarily available for the other companies that create their glass houses. Now, I'm sure that any greenhouse company could create a custom size for you, but going custom is a lot more expensive than just buying what they already have. So since I knew that they had a size that would work well, that's what I wanted to go with. Could I have customized it a little bit? Maybe, but honestly, I don't think the size would be very different than the grand patio is right now. Also, they construct it. Like I said, I would not trust myself to put this together on my own. And it does seem like a lot of the other companies, you have to put it together. I don't even know where it would begin attaching metal to brick and glass and making sure it's all secure. So I knew 100% that whoever I went with, they had to do the install. And Hartley was one that 100% can do the install. Again, it is extra, but it's definitely going to be worth it for me. Also, there is a 10-year warranty if you don't construct it yourself. So that's another reason I don't want to do it myself, is that there is a 10-year warranty. So that will be nice. I'm hoping we're here for more than 10 years, but it will be nice to have at least a little bit peace of mind. Those are the reasons I went with Hartley. There are other greenhouse companies as well. I know a lot of people love, is it BC Greenhouses, Alitex? So definitely shop around and do your research. But as far as finding a sturdy glass house specifically made for patios that didn't have to be a custom size, that could be installed by them, Hartley was the brand that had all of those. So that's why I went with them. So now, having said that, let me show you where it's going to go, at least where I'm thinking it's going to go. I don't have that many options. And then show you some of the plants that I have right now that are my perennials that need to stay out here, and which ones I may or may not move in there. So from where I'm sitting, which, I mean, depending on how you're looking at the deck, is the back right corner of this deck, it's going to go near the front left corner. So this is the archway that goes over the entryway into this garden. It is going to go over here, which means that everything here will need to be moved, but that's why I put them on wheels. So with the 7 feet across, there is a power box back there. So I would want to leave about probably 18 inches to 2 feet away from that power box. And then it will go probably, I don't know if it'll go right up against the brick wall or not, because I don't know exactly how they're going to install it, but I do want it kind of as far back as possible just to create more open space here. But I don't think it'll go any further than this line of the tile. And then the front's going to be here. So I have options of either having it this way facing out or this way facing out. And I just thought this way would be better. One, I don't want to like completely block our neighbors because I wouldn't be able to see or talk to them at all if that was over there. And I just think with the direction of the sun coming in that way, and then I want to trim the tree around the greenhouse as well, I think this will look really pretty. And I think that's going to be the best space for what's available on the garage deck. Now, as far as the perennials I have and what I may or may not put in there, all of these perennials are planted in these large containers, so they are not going to move. So I need perennials in here that will survive the winter. It'll be my first winter testing it out, so we'll see how it does, but nothing back here would be stored in the greenhouse. Then I have these potted hydrangeas, or potted hydrangeas on top of empty pots, because I'm trying to get stuff out of the way, but I really want to have hydrangeas that I can just move up against the back border that I just showed you, and they'll survive. I've killed so many hydrangeas, but I don't also want to do a lot of extra work just to keep hydrangeas alive, so I'm hoping that all of these can stay outside, unless maybe there are 1 or 2 varieties that I really, really love and want to give them some extra protection. But all of these I'm hoping, again, just to keep outside. This arch would not fit in the greenhouse, so the roses will be outside. So basically the only thing I have up here right now are my fruit trees. And like I said, the 2 columnar apple trees, those are the hardiest, because I don't think, well, no. Let's say if it's only 4 feet deep, I definitely can't wheel all of these in there. So I will be favoring my Chicago hardy fig and my mini peach tree. And then this hydrangea too, this is just too large of a container. So I'm not gonna overwinter a lot. Probably just fruit trees and tulips, honestly, right now. Now, like I said, this is not going to be installed until February at the earliest. So all of these perennials do have to live outside. When I shove everything up against the corner for winter, I will show you how I do that and how I'm gonna add some extra insulation. But assuming things live until the greenhouse is open, I will wheel my fruit trees in at that time and then maybe even give them a little bit of a head start for the season. Some things, I don't know. How am I going to clean it? Somebody asked about the windows that are going to be up against the brick wall. I don't know how much space is going to be in between there. Maybe I can like shove a squeegee in between, so that is to be determined. I know that the shelves are adjustable, so I can, if I want to, create more space at the bottom and move the shelves a little bit higher, especially if it's during the summer when I'm probably not storing as many plants in there, just tools and pots. I can move the shelves up, and that way I have more space on the bottom. If I want to put any plants in there to extend their season. So I am very excited to play around with this. I can't think of a better present for a 40th birthday other than maybe a hairless cat, but I think this is going to be perfect. So I will obviously be taking you along with me. I wanted to let you know now because it will be eventually impacting how I overwinter some of these plants, but again, not that many. But yeah, I'm excited to share this and show you how it goes and just see how having this greenhouse can impact how I garden out here. So let me know if you have any questions. Hopefully I can answer them if they are about the greenhouse. If not, I will get those answers for you by the time it's installed. But let me know down below and I will see you in the next video. Bye.